welcome back to International Scale Modeler. Today we're just going to do a quick review on the Airfix 172 Supermarine Spitfire Mk.IXc. It is a new tool, so it's meant to be quite nice. Hopefully it'll stand up to a couple of other new tools that have come out from Airfix recently. It's not going to be the same in the same league as the Edouard Mk.IXc, I'm sure, but it is meant to be quite good. I haven't built any Airfix 172 Spitfires, only the Mk.IXa, which was their first kit. It's a horrible old first kit, very old tool and awful to work with. There's some people on the forum have done a very good job on it, I must say. But anyway, let's get to the review of this little kit. It won't be a long one, but here you go.
The Spitfire is a legend. Today, 60 years after it first entered service with the RAF, it still turns heads and raises emotions with its classic lines and the full-throated roar of its Merlin engine. But the Spitfire was more than just a good-looking aircraft. It was a killer, a fighter of immense character that became the chosen mount for many of the best fighter pilots the RAF could muster. But perhaps most important of all, the Spitfire's design allowed it to be developed constantly throughout its 10 years of manufacture. Bigger engines, more power, and improved armament kept the Spitfire in the front line well after its contemporaries had disappeared. It is not surprising, therefore, that every fighter to carry the RAF roundels since the war has been compared with the Spitfire.
So the Airfix 172 Supermarine Spitfire Mk.IXc. Now I'm sure this is no Edouard Mk.IXc, but it is a new tooling from Airfix, so it should be quite nice. The box art, as per usual with Airfix, is always very, very good. They do seem to excel at their box art, and I do like that. Around the box itself, there's a couple of schemes, a little bit of write-up. Apart from that, just the usual blurb. There's quite a big write-up there about it. Apart from that, just the usual blurb, and on the back, a lot of Airfix advertising. Inside the box, we have one bag, as is Airfix's way of doing things, unfortunately. So let's have a look inside this bag. Okay, we have 3 sprues of plastic, and the fuselage is on its own sprue, and it's only in 2 places on each side, which is quite nice, which means you're not going to have a lot of smoothing out to do. Panel lines, they do seem a bit heavy for a bit big for 172, but it is clean and crisp, and it's not your usual soft moulding that you get from Airfix. I don't know when this moulding was done, but it can't be that old because it is actually quite crisp. Let's just give you an idea. Okay, as you can see there. Now, as you can see, it's a crisp mould, but it is quite heavy for 172. So it's a little bit thick on the lines. You might want to put some Mr. Surfacer in there, but if you don't bother about that, then I don't always make the panel lines smaller at all. In fact, I've never done it. So it's just one of those things. But the wing section. The upper wings, again, very clean, crisp moulding. It looks very nice. Usually with Airfix kits, you tend to get a lot of burr around the edges. There doesn't seem to be any on here. Even the props are free of it. Yeah, the props are in good nick as well, so it's very nice. You've got the oil coolers there, they're fine. Air intakes. The pilot. Now the pilot has actually got a reasonable level of detail on it. It's a shame that the arms are separate and everything, but that's really good for 172. I'm quite impressed with that. But as you can see with the panel lines, now they're actually a little bit more in scale than they are on the fuselage. You can see they're a lot thinner, and they're crisper as well. But they tend to look much more in scale, but very clean and crisp. And the pilot, I've got to say, I'm very impressed with that. I'm just hoping this will be able to pick it all up. But there's a lot of little detail on that pilot. You could really make a good job of that if you went to town on it, I think. So far, that's not bad for an Airfix kit. What is going on in the world? The underside of the wings, again, very clean, crisp. I mean, it's really, really nice to see Airfix churning out kits like this. This is how all kits should be these days. And there's a discussion on ISM at the moment saying that Airfix really should state on their boxes whether it's an old tool or a new tool, instead of just packaging up all their old crap and selling it as new, which is what they're obviously trying to do, which is miffed me off, that's for sure, and a few other people. But again, panel lines on here, excellent, if a little deep for 172, but they're still very clean and crisp and very well defined, which is what you're after. You've got a wheels up version and a wheels down version here. The wheels up are actually already encased in their covers, which is nice, so it's going to be a nice easy job to put those in. The wheels, the main wheels themselves, again, good level of detail. I'm quite impressed with this kit actually. But at 172, I mean, this is the quality that it should be chucking out all the time now. But as you can see, but the panel lines are a bit big for 172. But apart from that, very clean and crisp. They're going to be well defined. I mean, if you're going to chuck humble paint on there, which is thick anyway, then that probably will use some of those panel lines up. But as you can see, two different wheel types there. And so it gives you two options. It makes it easier when you're putting the wheels in, if you're having the wheels up in flying position. But apart from that, the exhaust stacks, they're quite nice, and in fact, again, there's no burring, no flash anywhere on the model. Really, really nice. And in fact, you might get away with drilling those. You probably could get a little drill in there, so that would be worth doing. Always a big fan of drilling the exhaust pipes out, but very nice indeed. Very impressed so far. Let's have a look at the clear parts. Right, they are what you would expect for 172. Very thick, very lensy. I mean, I could give that to my my 90-year-old grandfather-in-law, and he'd be able to read his book, I think. It's really lensy. They're really magnifying the writing, so they're going to be completely out of scale. They are thick and horrible. So really nice kit, let down by the clear parts. That really is awful. It really is thick and horrible, as you can see. They're not particularly well, not clear either. They've been rubbed to buggery in the packet. You do get two different cockpits, and they're not different. They're exactly the same canopies. So you get one and a spare, which is nice. But I'm just going to see if I can pick up this lensing effect for you. Let's have a look. We may or may not be able to do it, but that's quite a bad one as far as they go. I don't know if that's going to pick it up. Hopefully it has. So unfortunately, a really nice plastic let down by the clear parts there, which is a bit of a shame. What else we've got? We've got obviously Airfix's instructions, which is A4 black and white, very simple, very easy to understand. Very tiny write up about the Mk.IXc, and as you can see, Airfix instructions are all very simple, very easy to follow. Nothing complicated with that whatsoever in the slightest. It's nice to see the wheels go on last for a change, which is how it should be, and all the pointy bits and snappy bits come off. The colour schemes, which is nice again to see. It's nice that Airfix are doing this on all their new models now. And you've got two schemes. One is the EN315ZX6 flown by Squadron Leader Stanislaw Skalski from 145 Squadron in Tunisia. And that's got the desert scheme there, which is very nice indeed. Or the tropical scheme, I think it is, isn't it? Or desert scheme. That's very nice. And probably if I were to build this, that would be the way to go. You've also got the Mk.IXc 9B, which is the Mark 392 JJ flown by Wing Commander Johnny Johnson from 144 Wing RAF Ford in 1944. And that's got its invasion stripes on and everything. So many models with those on, I kind of got, don't do them anymore really. But definitely the way to go would be the Tunisian one for me. I think that's really nice. Nice different colour scheme as well. So nice to have the colour callouts in there. Obviously all the paint callouts are in Humbrol because it's Airfix. The decals themselves are extremely flat. I've got to say they're really flat. And if you're going to do the Tunisian version, that would be ideal, because that will really flatten them down if you're going to put like dust coat over it or anything. But as you can see, they're all in register, nicely laid out. But very strange to see them so flat. I don't know if this will pick it up, but they're extremely flat, like they've been sprayed with a matte coat already. But the writing, you can actually read the writing on there, which is nice to see as well. So all very good decals, I've got to say. So quite impressed with that. So the only thing that lets it down really is the canopy. But apart from that, it seems like a nice little model that will build up really quickly, obviously with 1/172 scale. But overall, really nice. Just the canopy lets it down, which is quite a common thing with Airfix actually. Anyway, that is the Airfix 172 Supermarine Spitfire Mark 9C.